Been busy all week. I'm traveling. I'm in California working, but today I'm done early, and I have time for a Sisterwives rewatch. So I'm going to watch the episode of Sisterwives where Meri. It's called the Catfish Fallout. It's when Meri's catfishing happens. I never watched it originally, and I've been sort of dying to know how it all went down. So I'm looking forward to reacting to it. Now the problem is, I'm not set up, so I'm using my computer camera, and I do have a microphone, but that's it. So we're gonna be creative here. I think how does this sound? That's what all the professional YouTubers do, right? This is what this is the top end audio setup.
I started talking to somebody online. He said all the right things and did all the right things to make me feel trust for him. And he was making me really start to feel love for who he was portraying himself to be.
Wait, that's notable, isn't it? Like later on, she talks about it like she was just looking for a friendship and she had been betrayed, but at that time she was feeling love for the guy. So there was definitely a component of it which was romantic.
It was a woman who had been watching me online, and I feel like I have been targeted. And
okay, I mean, she was targeted, but there's two things going on here. One is Meri's experience of somebody targeting her and catfishing her, and her sort of disappointment that the person she was talking to wasn't Chris Hemsworth. But right, so there's the betrayal there, but we have to also sort of recognize that. I mean, I think if I were the family, I would feel like, well, wait a second, were you looking for Chris Hemsworth? You were online looking for a relationship with a man. I mean, I know nobody ever wants to ever think about it from Kody's perspective, but I would be freaking pissed and hurt if my wife was online looking for male companionship. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not a good reason. I understand why she felt the need to do that. I think she was isolated in her family. I think Kody was mistreating her. I think she's been neglected. And I think there's a lot of egregious things that happened in the relationship with her Sisterwives and with Kody. But I mean, unquestionably, she was doing something that she probably shouldn't have, because if she should have been, if what she was doing was fine, then she would have shared it with the family. Did Kody and the other wives know that Meri was online with male chat partners? I don't think so.
Did finally tell my family. I know it shocked and surprised them. We're still trying to figure out how to deal with it. We just need to process the whole thing. We've got our family therapist, Nancy, coming over.
Oh, good. I am sure, based on what I know about Nancy, I'm sure she's going to do a wonderful job of holding everybody accountable and fully processing through this. If you're new here, Nancy drives me nuts. But let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's see how she does.
So, we just have a lot to discuss, a lot to figure out about it.
Oh, okay. I'm a little bit concerned. Not concerned is the wrong word. I'm a little bit bothered by the fact that Meri, at least at this stage of the game, is not taking a lot of accountability, right? What she's saying is, you wouldn't believe it, I was online talking to some guy that I was having feelings for, and it turned out to be a woman who was manipulating me, and I'm the victim here. And I just am not sure that that's the right interpretation. I think it feels to me like she got bit and someone did victimize her, but she should take some accountability. Look, I shouldn't have been online doing this. I am betraying the people in my family. Like so far she hasn't said anything about her behavior being, problematic.
Because Maddie's actually going to be home tonight.
I'm not pushing this.
I'm not pushing either. I'm just saying. I'm kind of pushing, but I'm not doing it out loud.
Does Christine seem a little bit pissed off right there? Like a little bit dissatisfied? I think love was not always in the air between the two of them.
I have something to tell you guys all first.
Oh. It is sweet because, you know, we know that it works out, right? Like, it seems like she's very happy with Caleb. They have kids. It's nice. My wife would be like, oh. So I have to sort of do that for her.
So forget Maddie. You're just going to take Caleb and you guys are going to find the venue.
Yeah, I just want to be able to spend some time with Caleb. It's a matter of, just having no women.
Kody, I'm with you. Get those broads out of the way so that you and Caleb can get down to planning. Here's what I'll say. I think he probably wants to plan because he wants to be the center of attention. I think he wants to plan because it gives him some control. I think he wants to plan because it gets him out of the house and he gets to go fish versus parent. And I like Kody so much more here than I do in later seasons. Like in the last couple of seasons, he is an angry, vicious, uncompromising guy. Here, he's dorky, but a little bit endearing. He's goofy and, odd, but he seems like he's harmless. And it's like he just progressed in this really negative way.
When McKelty comes home, she sleeps with me. Unless Cody's there, then she's mad.
I felt terrible. It made me feel unwelcome in our house.
So I have to say, I can relate to Kody here because in my house, both my kids would like me out of my bed. If I'm traveling, they're both in bed with Allison. And even if I'm home and I'm just working late, they try and get in bed with Allison. And I'm even convinced that my wife would prefer to cuddle with them than with me. So I've been there. I'm definitely on the bottom of the totem pole as far as cuddle partners in my own home. There is a flavor of this, though, which feels like Kody is actually personally offended by it, which would be an odd response for, a normal person.
You want to put the women in one car and you and Caleb in another
Not all
car?
the time, but we got a long drive. I might as well spend some time with him.
Dad's in a place where he really likes Caleb, and we can't tell if Caleb likes him back.
We'll let Maddie and Caleb hang out for a little while. We'll give them some time together, and then Caleb and I will get some time together.
I think it's weird for a couple of reasons. I think it's weird on the one hand that Kody is so drawn to him and clearly wants a buddy and is looking for man time or whatever. I think it's weird, but whatever. Endearing, cute, kind of. What I think is interesting is that Caleb doesn't seem to have much deference for Kody. Like if I think about the typical relationship between whatever Caleb is, what is he, 22 years old, and the father of his future wife, usually that 22-year-old is very deferential, a little bit intimidated, working hard to please the father of their future bride, right? But here, the power dynamic is that Caleb is in power, right? Caleb's like, all right, dude, if you want to ride with me, you can. There's no sort of effort to make Kody happy. There's no effort to impress him, right? And I think that tells you something about the level at which Kody interacts day to day.
It's okay if you ride with me. Spending time with Kody, it's like hanging out with my brothers and stuff. And so it kind of makes me feel special in a way.
I don't think that that's the typical relationship with your father-in-law.
I think it's so cute that you were fixing Maddie's couch. It's almost like a subconscious part of you was just hoping she would stay a little bit longer.
I didn't understand that. We can fix it later. Let's get up there, get everything moved in, and then we can fix it. I'm kind of a handyman.
Kody's acting weird here. I don't know exactly what's going on. It's possible that he's just, psychologically envious of the attention that Caleb's getting. And so he's like inserting himself in that dynamic so that the eyes are focused on Caleb and him. It's also possible that he's anxious about losing Maddie. And so he's trying to do all the sort of stereotypical male things, masculine things, daddy things, before she leaves. So that means, helping her pack up, taking care of the couch, worrying about these details that really don't make a difference, but he's just trying to add value to her, before she leaves and moves on with somebody else that sort of replaces him.
Here's the thing. I want them to have all the happiness in the world. So I'm just trying to make sure that they get that. Plus, she's leaving. So I'm going to be part of all that I can.
Yeah, that's it. He's just grieving the loss of his daughter and her maturation and the transition to Caleb. So I think this is normal. He just needs to be cheered up. Now, thinking about getting cheered up is a good transition to the sponsor for today's video, DraftKings Casino. Now, thinking about getting cheered up is a good transition to the sponsor for today's video, DraftKings Casino. I'm so happy to partner with DraftKings Casino on this video. I have actually had a DraftKings account, I think since 2018, and I opened up originally to do sports betting with my dad. It was always a lot of fun, and it's a very reputable organization, so you know your money is safe, secure, and it's very reliable. Well, DraftKings now has an online casino with over 300 real money games, 175 of which are slots. So if you like slots, it is the place to be. All you have to do is download the app, and right now is a great time to join because for new members, if you use the promo code PSYCH, DraftKings will match any deposit as long as you make a minimum of $5 deposit. Any deposit from $5 to $100, DraftKings will match in casino credits. So it's a fantastic time to join, start having fun online. I really recommend you check it out.
I told her, Maddie, I don't know if I could ever explain how much you mean to me and how much I love you, but I will try every day of my life.
All right, I'm sorry. We're watching this episode to talk about Meri, right? How long are they going to drag out the Maddie, Caleb? I mean, get it. They're in love. I feel like I'm not the demo for this show. There's too much happiness and romance going on here. Let's get to the drama.
Oh, I feel absolutely blessed every day to have all these kids. And I feel absolutely blessed that I have these other women in my life to be a mom to Mariah.
Man, that is not a convincing comment from Meri. She looks in pain here. I don't think I'm making that up, but she looks uncomfortable, unhappy.
Almost on a daily basis, I fight with myself in my head about the situation because I let it in. And I feel a lot of guilt for that.
I do think she let it in there. And that's the first time that I've seen her sort of acknowledge that she played a significant role in that. You know, there's two things happening here. One is she was victimized. Somebody catfished her. She thought she was talking to Chris Hemsworth and it turned out to be some woman. Right. So there's that part of it. But the other part of it is that she was looking for a companion. She fell in love with somebody online or had love for somebody online and thought that person was a man. And so that part of it, I think, is important to acknowledge. And I think we can all sort of say, like, look, there's clear reasons why she may have wanted to step out of the relationship. But at the end of the day, I think she was stepping out. Like, the more that I watch this, the little clips here, and TLC is super like vague in how they position this. But the more that I learn, the more clear it is that, yeah, she was stepping out. She was looking for an emotional relationship outside of Kody. That's sort of the reality here.
I just don't know what I'm going to do right now. So don't be surprised if I just up and am gone.
It seemed like you were talking about a break from us as a family and a break from our situation.
That is what it seems like, and it seems weird. I wasn't there, but it feels like she said that. The implication is that she's leaving the family, and then everybody just sat there and said, okay. And then there wasn't any follow-up of like, no, we need to hear what's going on with you. Like, imagine in your relationship, I don't care if it's a new relationship, an old relationship, whatever. Think about it. If your partner said, you know, don't be surprised if I'm gone tomorrow. And then you're like, okay. And I guess I'll give you some space. Like, that's a weird reaction to it. I mean, it's like exactly what I think Meri probably felt like, was that she wasn't valued that much in the family, that she was neglected. And then it looks to me like that was sort of affirmed when she pulled back at that dinner.
It was just not going how I wanted, but I didn't know how exactly I wanted it to go, and I didn't know what to do.
She wanted people to want to hear from her.
I ended up in Robin's hotel room one night, and I just finally told her what was going on.
To Robin's credit, she appears to be the one that, I mean, of all of them, that must have showed the most sort of consistent interest, the one that created the safest environment for Meri?
You know, Meri was basically telling me that she was being emotionally blackmailed. She was telling me that she thought her house was bugged. She was telling me that they were tracking her every move. All of these things that never made sense to me, all of a sudden made sense to me because she was telling me that she couldn't spend time with the family without them getting upset. She just sat there and cried and cried and cried and finally told me everything.
I mean, again, like I need someone to draw out what exactly happened. But what it sounds like is, you know, Meri, I think, was stepping out of the relationship with Kody. She was looking for something from somebody else, and I think compromised her values and put herself in a very vulnerable position to trust somebody else. You know, it's like she's been in many ways rejected by Kody, and she finally goes, I need to get support from somewhere else. Let me change who I am. Let me try somewhere else, and let me find somebody who actually cares about me. She puts herself out there, and she finds this other person who she connects with and feels affection for, as she says, feels love for. And then it turns out that that person is not even a real person. So it's like the second significant figure in Meri's life that sort of turns on her. And so I can imagine emotionally that is, I mean, just a massive derailer, like so destabilizing for Meri. And so I think that's what she's expressing to Robin is all of a sudden the foundation on which Meri lives is totally shaken.
That's where I'm just like going, how in the heck did this happen? How were you in the place that you were at emotionally? How did we not see it?
That is a good question. And that the family should take some accountability for.
You know, we're becoming friends and we were laughing and he was saying all the right things to make me trust him and, you know, expressing love for me. And I did start caring about him.
There was a point where I was trying to say, hey, you know, some of these online friendships are not really safe. Can you cut them off?
So Meri clearly had talked to Kody about it. Kody was aware of online relationships. So it is, all right. So it's Meri's story is possible that Meri was just looking for friendships. And one sort of went sour, right? Or she stumbled into affection or somebody stumbled into affection for her and she liked it. And then got catfished. All right. My thinking's evolving here. I did not know that he was aware of her having these sort of online relationships.
I wish that I would have tried harder to have regained her trust enough to have then been able to say, hey, you know, these aren't good friends. Stay away from them.
It's interesting how his mindset shifted from there to where it's at today, right? There he's saying, you know, I wish that I had intervened, or I wish that she had trusted me. I wish I had invested more time. And now he's saying, you know, before they got separated, but he was saying at the end of the last season, he was saying, I have no interest in connecting with you or caring about you or building a stronger being trusted by you. Like, I just want to be separated from you. Here, at least he's acknowledging the importance of building a stronger relationship with her. He's not taking full accountability for how the relationship has dissolved, but at least he's saying, I should have done more.
You were emotionally compromised. I mean, he started to say love and you're like, no, not love. But you were emotionally.
When he started saying love, it was flattering.
To be fair, when people tell me that they love me, I'm flattered.
That is not an unhuman. That's not a polygamous thing. That's just, you know, that's normal.
It's interesting that they're very kind to her. I would not be so kind. I don't think I would be as supportive if I were Kody or the wives. Like their reaction to this, you know, I'll complain about Kody not taking accountability for the relationship, but his reaction here seems pretty tempered.
Serious, like verbal abuse.
Sorry. It's really, really weird to think of someone treating you like this and getting away with it.
My snarky response is that I think the family neglects Meri and they get away with it. And the other side of it is, you know, it's hard not to, you know, it's hard not to think that Meri overstepped the line as far as how much she let this person in. Like I don't, they're being vague about what's actually being said in the relationship, but I'm trying to think about like, what would I share with a friend online that they could then use against me? Like what sort of transparent data is Meri sharing that she's worried about other than Meri? My assumption is that Meri is saying things that are about romance. Like that's, I think, I don't know.
The Meri that I know.
I wish TLC would just give us a freaking timeline and a specific what happened, what was said, but we're never going to get that.
And it really scared me.
Did you think you were being bugged?
I didn't know if I was being bugged. I didn't know if she had something on my phone that she was listening to everything. I didn't even know. So I got up and I went outside and I stood back out in the far corner of the yard. But I was so scared she had put something in my house.
I can't help but think that Meri feels really ashamed of what she did. And instead of her dealing with the fact that I still feel like at some level stepping out of the relationship, instead of dealing with that, she's saying these people were monsters and I was victimized. Like she wants the attention to be, the focus to be there, which I think is true. She was victimized and they were monsters, but that's the energy that she's putting out there versus saying, yeah, I let it go too far because I wanted the intimacy with somebody else. That's the first thought. And the second thought I have is if you look here now, everybody in that room, Kody included, is calling them monsters and worried about Meri. If you fast forward 8 seasons forward, that level of empathy and concern is gone, but the anger about Meri stepping out is still there, which makes me think that they sort of all have turned the corner and now don't view it as Meri was victimized. I think Kody now today views it as Meri stepped out.
Start reading and start praying more and start really evaluating it and kind of bring a connection with God back into my life that I hadn't had for a while.
That's I think she may have worked with Nancy on that. That's good reframing, right? There's this really shitty event and how can I frame it in a way that shows that I've evolved? How do I change the narrative? This bad thing happened to me, but as a consequence of it, I'm now recommitted to my family, or I now have a closer connection with God. I don't know if I totally believe that, but I think it's probably what she sort of needs to do to move past the experience.
I don't want to go over to somebody's house to visit and they have something else going on, and that's going to feel like a little bit of a rejection to me,
But that's the issue, and that's what Nancy should be helping them all work out, is Meri has felt neglected and rejected by the family, and as a consequence, she doesn't feel like she belongs there, so as a consequence, she goes somewhere else and gets it. And so it's not that Meri's not invested in the family, it's that the other 4 people in the relationship are not engaging with her in a way that feels good. And so like Nancy needs to work with the whole system to figure out how do we make it so that Meri doesn't feel like shit when she comes over to your house. I'm never going to get all of the information. We're never totally going to know what was happening on those calls with the person that catfished Meri, but it does help. And I think there's 2 things going on, right? Meri did allow herself to get pulled out of the relationship with the family, and Meri was victimized by somebody that took advantage. And you probably have to acknowledge both of those things. I also thought it was interesting how differently Kody was handling it back then versus how he thinks about it today. It's night and day. So let me know what you think in the comments below.